And hello there, it is noon, and I am your host, Dr. Polly Heil-Mealey with Abundant Health and Wellness. Now, we are a holistic clinic downtown Humble, which is on Main Street and Avenue C. So if you guys come to Humble, then come in and see us, and we'd be glad for that. Now, today I want to talk to you about DNA results and cancer risk and dementia risk. So this is really, really important. You know, we talked the other day about our DNA tests and about the results that you could have. And we talked specifically about autoimmune disease. So I showed you this little thing right here. This is our little kit, and it's from GX Sciences, so you can research them. They're located here in Austin, Texas, not where I am, but it is in Texas, so it is my state. And so I'm really, really excited about bringing this to you because it's really important. So when I went to a conference a couple of weeks ago, I had my DNA tested, and Steve did too. And we got this nifty little report back. Now, this report can be scary, so I don't want you to be scared about it, but this is so full of information. I want to talk to you about it. Now, one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about the DNA is because there's such a great kind of excitement right now about getting your 23andMe DNA, your Ancestry.com DNA, and that kind of thing. So be aware, if you do that kind of genome testing, that result, your DNA result, can be sold to Google or it can be sold to the FBI. And so I'm not sure that you want to do that, but you know, to each his own. This particular lab, this is one of the things that we queried when we were there, and they do not sell the DNA. So the DNA is just between you and me and the lab. Now, just so you know, you don't have anything to worry about. This is the DNA sequencing, okay? So as you can see, it's just a lot of ABCs, right? Really not ABCs. Really, it is A, T, G, and C. And these are little proteins that combine, and the combination tells you who you are in your DNA. So when, let's say, a specific splice, we're going to call it a splice. You've got, think about this. I should have prepared a little bit better, but think about a pipe cleaner, okay? So twist a pipe cleaner into an S, twist another pipe cleaner into an S, and then wrap them around each other, and that will be indicative of how your genes work. One of your pipe cleaners is your mom's DNA, one of your pipe cleaners is your dad's DNA. You wrap them together and poof, there you are, okay? So these proteins are only A, T, G, and C, and they are in a linear sequencing, and when everything works and we're whole and healthy and perfect. Well, I just want to give you a news bomb. Only Jesus had perfect DNA. None of us have perfect DNA. And so when the DNA does not match up, so mom and dad come together and you wrap that double helix around, if your SNPs, that's what called SNPs, SNPs, single nucleotide polymorphisms, okay? So if they don't match up, then we get a DNA mismatch. Now, this does not mean you're broken, but this can mean that you are more susceptible to certain sicknesses and diseases. So you might be saying, well, if I get this and I know what I'm predisposed to, that I'm going to be fatalistic and I'm going to say, oh, I'm doomed to have these sicknesses and diseases. No, 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 no. Your genes are only part of the story. The other part of the story is how you live, who you love, what you think, what you eat, okay? Those things, what's a good word? Those things all go together and they tell your body what to do with your genes, okay? So I'm going to tell you, DNA is not a figment of your imagination. You cannot identify with this or that. You are who your genes say they are, and that's okay. What we want to know is, what do our genes say about us so that we can be healthy and we can be able to do all that we need to do, and we can live to a ripe old age without having these bad SNPs have a problem. So I kind of want, this could be laborious. I hope it's not laborious. I hope you guys can understand what I'm telling you. So I'm just going to do a little show and tell. This is mine. okay? And I usually am not real open with my information, but it's a teaching lesson. So this is what you get on your report. Now, I did the 55 Pro version, and that tests the most common 55 genes that you could have a problem with, okay? So where you see the green, that means mom and dad came together and everything's good. I match up perfectly. Where you see the yellow, that means on one side of the S, a neural pipe cleaner, one side did not match up with the other side. Where you see the pink one, that means both sides didn't match up. So that is a defect. I'm gonna call it a defect. It's not really a defect because that makes you who you are and that makes you unique. But all of the little pink ones, they tell you this is an aberration. This is a mutation in the gene pool. And so if you don't do something, then this could be a result of that, okay? So the big word I want you to know here is if. You can see on this page alone, I've got 2 pink squares. That means I've got 2 problems with my DNA. But if you'll look right here, on this column here, this tells me what nutrient I'm missing. And if I have this nutrient, this gene problem isn't going to be a problem. So this is really good for us because you come in here and we do testing and I say you need this, that, and the other. And you may say, yeah, well, who are you? What do you know, right? And that's a fair comment. But what I want you to know is that when I got my DNA, this is my little sheet of all the nutrients that I need. And of the nutrients that I need, there's only one that I'm not currently taking. So what does that mean? That means that I know my body, I know what works for me, and if I continue to take these nutrients, these supplements, I'm not going to have a fault with the genes that are either pink or yellow, which is really exciting, okay? This is really exciting. So why is this practical? Well, this is practical for a couple of reasons. One of the nutrients I need is methyl B12, okay? So what that means is I am not a good methylator. Now, I'm gonna have to do a teaching on methylation, but for right now, methylation is the cell completing the work cycle. That means it's able to detoxify, that means it's able to put all of its parts together, that means that there's carbon atoms that need to be switched among the different enzymes in there. And so if you're a good methylator, you live long, you live healthy, you live disease-free. Well, I find out I'm a poor methylator. So what does that mean? That means if I don't have methyl B12, I'm not going to complete my cell cycle. But you know what? I have methyl B12 in my little Lazy Susan that I have all of my herbs and supplements on. But you know what? I don't take it. But you know what? Now that I know that this little pink snip is an issue, and if I don't take that methyl B12, I'm not going to be able to do detoxification properly, then that's important. Why? Because that specific snip says that if you're not able to detoxify, then your risk of cancer is quite increased. So am I like, the sky is falling and Chicken Little and all that kind of thing? No, I don't care. Why? Because now that I know that I need this, I will do it every day, twice a day. There's something else that I need. I need vitamin C. Now, I don't like doing vitamin C. Number one, vitamin C bought in the United States, you guys need to know this, if you buy ascorbic acid here in the United States, it is, you can count on it, it's genetically modified, okay? So we don't want to do that. I get my vitamin C out of Canada, so I know that it's organic and it's not genetically modified, but I don't like to take it. Why? Because it's fizzy. You put it in the water and it tastes like this orange fizzy stuff. Orange is not my favorite flavor, so I don't take it. We've got another form of vitamin C. It's from the camu berry, and it kind of tastes like chocolate, so it's a little bit better. It's in a liquid, and you do it by the teaspoonful. And I have it, and I like that one, but I don't take it. Why don't I take it? Because I don't know that I need it. I know everybody needs vitamin C. I think I get enough vitamin C from my food. But according to my DNA report, if I don't have vitamin C, XYZ can happen. And so guess what? Now that I know that, I'm going to be doing vitamin C twice a day, every day. Why? Because I have to support my DNA. So I'm healthy. I'm still relatively young, even though I'm in my 60s. I'm healthy. There's not a whole lot wrong with me, but I want to keep it that way. Okay? So one of the articles that I read this week, I wanted to talk to you about, and it says that colorectal cancer, right, is on the rise, particularly among the younger than 50. Now, a lot of us think that we're only going to get cancer if we get older, but this particular colorectal cancer, and that is any cancer colon or rectal colon. Now, this is really, really important to me because people in my family have this. So I was reading this, and it says that we need to be aware of the risk factors. Okay, so what are the risk factors? The risk factors are not being able to methylate properly, not being able to detox at the cellular level properly. So I just want to tell you, now this is a 22-page report. I don't want to go through all of these particular things, but I will just tell you that there is a SNP that I have that tells me that my body is more susceptible to colorectal cancer. Now, this is important to me because I have a family member that is a survivor of that. And now I know that my genes are predisposed to that. So what am I going to do? Am I going to get all upset and like the sky is falling? No, I'm not. I'm going to look at that particular gene SNP and I'm going to say, what does it take in order to make that gene operate properly? What nutrient does it take? If I take that nutrient, then I'm not going to have that outcome. So this is really, really important, okay? So I just want to kind of go through this again, just in some other, I don't have one page that's all green. You know, Steve, my husband, we did it, he did it. He has a page that's all green. I just want to slap him because I just think I should have the green page, but I don't have the green page. So one of the things that they say here, you've got your DNA here. This is the actual gene that it lives on right here. Well, this is the gene that it lives on. This is a sequencing. This is a sequence that is broken. This tells you what you need, the nutrients that you need for these genes to express properly. This will tell you the supplement that you need. And then this over here tells you any kind of medical test or something like that that you need. So this is awesome because we're not born with perfect DNA. This is a report that you will get if you do this DNA test. Now, on the back of this is all of the explanations. So what I did is I didn't do the yellow ones because the yellow ones, remember there's green, yellow, and pink. The green one, there's no problem. Your body's doing what it needs to do. It doesn't need any support in that area. The yellow ones, you've got half your gene is right, half your gene is wrong. That means you're going to have a 10 to 20% faulty expression of that gene. Not really bothered about that. But those pink ones, if you've got pink ones, that means you're 50 to 75% that gene SNP is going to cause you to have some problems. So I'm really, really concerned with that. Not concerned like my life is over because I've got these SNPs, but these are some things that I need to be really, really proactive with in my diet so that I take in the nutrients that make that gene express itself the way it is supposed to express itself. So remember, there's genes. This is what you're born with. You can't change it. This is what you're born with. But then there's another science that is above that is called epigenetics. Epigenetics tells the genes how to express, whether to express properly or whether to express in their broken state. I don't want any of my genes to express in their broken state. And I don't want any of your genes to express in their broken state either, which is why, one of the reasons why I wanted to bring DNA testing into the clinic. Now, the good thing is I did the big test. Steve and I did the big test. But you don't have to spend that much money to do the big test. There's a neurotransmitter test. So if your issues are depression, if you've got Alzheimer's in the family, if you have sleep problems, if you've got weight gain that you can't do anything about, you might need the neurotransmitter test. If you've got detoxification issues, you've got this belly bloat, you can't get rid of it no matter what you do, there's a test for that. If you've got developmental, you've got ADD, you've got dyslexia, you've got any kind of thing like that, there's a DNA test for that. If you've got chronic pain, there's the DNA test for that. And then we talked about the autoimmune one last week. This particular one that I did, that Steve and I did, I'm just going to tell you what it covers. It covers methylation. Remember, if you can't methylate, you've got a problem. It covers neurotransmitter, mitochondria. Now, your mitochondria is, you've got your little cell, and right in the middle of the cell is your mitochondria, and that is the workhouse of the cell. And so if you've got mitochondria issues, we've got stuff for that. But if you don't know it, you're not going to take it, because you know what? It's really, really expensive. But if your mitochondria is not doing what your mitochondria needs to do, then you're going to age. You're going to get more age-related diseases, and we don't want that. So it tells me about my mitochondria. I'll just tell you, my mitochondria is really good. I have no pink snips there, so that's a good thing. Detoxification, I do have a snip there, and it says I need high doses of antioxidants, curcumin, which I take, vitamin C. Remember, I told you about vitamin C, which I sometimes take, sometimes don't take. And I also need to take organic sulfur. Now, sometimes I take that, sometimes I don't. I get a lot of my sulfur from my vegetables, my broccoli, my Brussels sprouts, my cauliflower, and that kind of thing, okay? Also does inflammatory markers. Now, believe it or not, I have 2 pink snips in the inflammatory. But you know what it says to do? It says to take CBD oil. Whoop, whoop. We've got that here. And yes, I take that every day. It also says I need to take pregnenolone and progesterone. And guess what? I take those every day. So I'm giving you a whole lot of personal information. So I'm not doing it to divulge things. I'm doing it so you know what you can do with this powerful, powerful information. External inflammatory, okay? This means that one of these SNPs is that I have a high risk of gluten-based issues. So you know how a lot of people are gluten intolerant. That's not one of my SNPs. I'm all good on that one. But it tells you what each of these things are so that you can choose properly. You can choose your food properly. You can choose your drinks properly. You can choose all the things that you do properly. And so that's what this is all about, okay? It says that fasting would be good. And you know what? Guess who fasts every week? I do. Why do I do that? Well, I started doing it as a spiritual discipline. Don't really pray that. I mean, I pray. But you know how you do fasting and prayer where you set aside the whole day to do prayer? I don't do the whole day to do prayer. I do prayer, but that's not the spiritual thing. I do it now just because it's a way to take some of the digestive load off my body so my body can clear and do what it needs to do. The other, the last panel is health precautions, right? And so I've got no pink SNPs on that one either. So I'm really pretty happy with my report. I think I have 5 pink genes. But remember I told you that I have the bladder cancer SNP? Well, guess what? I also have, or I had told you I had the colon cancer SNP. I also have the bladder cancer SNP. And guess what? People in my family have bladder cancer. So I'm going to be very, very proactive and take the nutrients that this recommends. Why? So that I am not going to have a poor gene expression. So it is expensive. This test is $450, okay? It is expensive. But how much is cancer, right? If I had bladder cancer or if I had colon cancer, I would have to be spending big dollars, right? Whether I chose to treat it holistically or I chose to treat it in the conventional manner. If you have insurance, which we don't, but if you have insurance, the insurance is only going to pay for 80%. And so you're going to have the other 20%. And I can just tell you, having lost a spouse to Western medicine cancer treatment, I can tell you that 20% is thousands and thousands of dollars out of my pocket. So I want you just to know that. I'll just tell you something else I have just to kind of round out the picture. I have a gene SNP, a pink SNP, that says that I have a very increased risk of giving birth to Down syndrome children. Now, we have Down syndrome children in our family tree, but my children were not affected that way, even though I have the gene SNP. Why? Because I happened, at the particular time that I got pregnant, I happened to be living in England. I happened to be having fresh fruits and vegetables brought to the house every day. Not because, I'm all this in a bag of chips. That's just how they do it over there. They've got these little mobile stores, and they just come down your street. And if you want to get something fresh from the farm, you just go out and get it. So my children were when they were in utero, I was eating fresh, organic, farm-raised nutrients. So we know that when there is a lack of folate in the mom, then we have Down syndrome children. Now, remember I told you I have that methylation SNP? What does that mean? That means that I am not able to process folate. So it's just by the grace of God. And remember, where you live, what you eat, who you love, how you think, all of those things that you have control over, control the DNA expression of your genes. So I'm very, very fortunate. I did not know this because I probably would have said I have a very high incidence of having Down syndrome children, so I'm not going to do that. But as I can tell you, I've got two very beautiful, very perfect children. And so it just goes to show that even though you've got that SNP, you can overcome that SNP by your choices. So what are you choosing? Michelle asked, what is the name of the test? This is GX Sciences. This is the brand, but there are several different panels that this test can check. I did the 55 Pro because I wanted to know the main genes and all of those different disciplines. That's what I wanted to do. I don't have a Dr. Polly to go to help me with testing and that kind of thing. So it was really, really important to me to take care of myself. Steve had his done as well. We did the big one because we just wanted to. And I looked at what Steve needs on his paper, what the nutrients say. And he's taking almost everything that he needs too. Now, the good thing, Steve thinks, oh, I take all the stuff, I don't know what it's for, I don't know what it does, I'm not really motivated. Now, he does it because I put it out for him, and he knows I'm smart, and he knows I've got his best interest at heart, so he still does it. But when I show him, you've got this SNP, you need to take this so you don't have that, he's going to be really on board, and he's going to be more proactive. And so that's the good thing, okay? There's another SNP, just so you know, there's another SNP of mine that says that I'm predisposed to have autoimmune disease. So we talked about that last week. There's nobody in my family that has autoimmune disease, well, not in my immediate family. In my extended family, there are. But we're all connected with the DNA. Now, am I worried about autoimmune disease? Yes and no. I know that as you get older, if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't treat yourself properly, the SNPs that you have, right, the pink ones, and for those of you that kind of tuned in late, the pink ones are the problem genes. I know that as you get older, your problem genes are going to be more expressive. Why? Because your nutrition is poorer, you don't make good choices, you're too tired, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And so you've got a more That's why cancer usually hits you when you're older, right? Well, autoimmune disease is the same because you get tired. When you come in and we do the avatar, we do that test. That test will tell you where your vibrational frequencies are. So if your vibrational frequencies are very, very low, then those pink snips, they're going to express themselves, okay? If your vibrational frequencies are high and you take in the right nutrients, those pink snips are not going to express themselves. So that's really, really important. This is another reason why, because I'm getting older, right, I don't want to have these negative gene expressions. So what do? I do RCCP every year. RCCP is restoring cellular communication pathways. It's nutrition that you take in. Is traditional Chinese medicine, and it causes all your DNA to be fed with what it needs to be fed with so that you're not going to have a negative expression. And it gets your vibrations up so that your body can do what it needs to do to ward off sickness and disease, right? So I do that. But we've done something else this year, which I'm really excited about, and I've talked to you about it, and this is human growth hormone. Now, human growth hormone is a hormone that we make, the pineal gland makes it, and this is why children grow so fast, is because they have a lot of human growth hormone. As we get into our 20s, we don't make human growth hormone all that much, but it's human growth hormone that keeps us young, that keeps us pretty, that keeps our collagen doing what it needs to do. It also causes our mitochondria to work and do what it needs to do. And it's also, for us older girls, it's really good for our collagen and our muscle strength. And so all of these things go in and cause the DNA to do what it needs to do. Rhonda, no, this company does not sell your information. I said that earlier in the recording. So no, this company does not sell your DNA. So how hard is this? Is this a blood draw? No. They've got a little swab in here. You swab your left cheek, inside your cheek, for 1 minute. Then you go over to the right cheek and you swab it for 1 minute. You put it back in the container. We label it. We tell the test that we want you to have, and then we send it to the lab in Austin. The lab takes it. The software that they have decodes all of those little letters, and remember, the letters are A, T, G, and C. And you can Google, okay? You can Google the DNA sequencing, and you can see how those letters line up and what they mean and all that kind of stuff. So it goes to the lab. The computer tells you where you match, where you didn't match. And on those genes, if both parents were having a mutation, then you're pink. If only one parent had a mutation, you're yellow. If both parents were good, then you're green. So green ones we don't have to support. Yellow ones, it would be good to support. But the pink ones, we absolutely have to support. Why is that? Because we don't want to be sick. We don't want to be diseased, and we don't want to die young, okay? So I hope this was not too confusing for you. I hope that it gave you a lot of information. I hope that you're intrigued and you want to do your own DNA. Now, when this comes back, and Steve looked at it and he says, well, what does it mean? Because I see it, but I don't really know what it means. Well, he doesn't know because he's not a medical person. And you've got to take, and I will do this for you. I will take all of this and I'll break it down into very easy, this is what you have, this is what it means, this is what you do so it doesn't express negatively, okay? And then the rest is up to you. Knowledge is power, right? Remember I told you at the beginning of the broadcast, I have in my herbal, whatever I have at home, I have B12, the methylated version, and I have vitamin C. Was I taking them regularly? No. Why not? I didn't know I needed them, right? Now that I know I need them, I can make the good choice. And that's what I want to do. And that's what I want for you. I don't want you coming in here and you going out with $100 worth of herbs or really it's more like, $200 or $300 worth of herbs if you want to get healthy. I don't want you going out and then they sit on your counter and you say, well, I don't know that it's doing any good. I don't know that it's being beneficial. I'm just too tired to do it. It's too much effort, whatever, right? If you know scientific evidence that you need these nutrients, then you're going to do it. Those of you that don't know us, we only have the best of the best supplements. So you're not going to get the quality that you get at the big box store. You're going to get something that has enough power in it to actually give those genes what they need so they express themselves properly, okay? So your genes are your genes. You cannot change them. They are what they are. But by your choices, who you love, what you think, what you do, what you eat, that can determine whether these genes express in a negative fashion or whether these genes express in a positive fashion. Remember, I told you last week what Dr. Dickey says. She says your cells hear everything, and any negativity negatively impacts your genes. So we don't want to do that. This is Easter weekend. It is Good Friday. I hope it is a Good Friday for you. And Sunday morning is coming. So have a blessed Easter. Thank you guys for taking time out of your day to listen to me. I hope it's clear. I've had patients that come in and they say that I talk to them and they can't understand my language. And I really try and make it on the level that people understand. So help me out if I'm saying words that you don't know, because I think that you're as smart as I am. Maybe you can't read this, but you're pretty smart because you're listening and you're trying to do things about your health and that kind of thing. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. You are a blessing to us, and we hope that these broadcasts are a blessing to you and help you live your best life. So take care. Have a